Entertainment Weekly have just released an exclusive interview with Rollins Jones, the showrunner of Interview with the Vampire, or as they've just confirmed, the Vampire Lestat. I'm going to get into every single detail of this article because there are some amazing tidbits, but the main highlights are this. This season of the Vampire Lestat is part 1 of 2. So just like Interview with the Vampire was broken up into 2 parts, the Lestat story will also be broken up into 2 parts. This first part will have its own satisfying arc, but we can settle in with the knowledge that we're going to get a part 2. Now, some people may have noticed that some details from the novel, Interview with the Vampire, were left out of season 1 and 2, and we might just be getting some of those details in the Vampire Lestat, as this is actually a continuation from parts 1 and 2, which I'm really glad to hear. Rollins Jones just says that Lestat is chaos, and chaos is coming, and I'm so ready for it. He also says that the tour is a train wreck, and I can only imagine how much of a train wreck this is going to be. I can't wait. We know for a fact that Louis's role in the show will be extended greatly because there isn't very much of him in the Vampire Lestat, and it has been confirmed that his arc is going to be heartbreaking. So everyone just buckle in and get ready for the ride, I guess. Claudia's role is also going to be expanded. We'll get more into that later. And if you're anything like me, I was hoping to get Lestat's version from his own mouth of some of the points of Louis' story, just to hear it directly from his mouth. But it looks like we're not going to get a retelling of what we've already seen. And I'm okay with that. I mean, there's so much story to be told, and there's so many different ways you can tell a story. We don't have to go over the fight again. We don't have to go over all of their time in New Orleans together again. But there are some things I still do want to hear from Lestat's mouth. Now, Roland says that Lestat really, really, really doesn't want to be doing this. And that's 3 reallys. He doesn't want to be examined, but he feels like he's forced to. So with Lestat in that headspace and Daniel just being Daniel, I cannot wait to see the dynamics of these 2. This is going to be so fun. And Roland says that this season is going to be iconic. And I believe you. I can't wait. So let's get into the details. So the interview starts with Rollins Jones saying that this is going to be a new story and it is going to be heartbreaking. He also says that we are really not prepared. Nobody is. And if that doesn't tickle your fancy, I really don't know what will. So the first question is about the name change from Interview with the Vampire to the Vampire Lestat. And Roland calls it a no-brainer, which I kind of agree. It is a completely different book with a completely different narrator. And Lestat does have his own story to tell. He says that they're following Anne's lead and they are focusing on what this book is about. There isn't any confirmation, though, that the follow-on books, so the next in the series would be The Queen of the Damned. There isn't any confirmation that that series will be called The Queen of the Damned. But we'll see. Let's enjoy this one first, I think. Roland also said that he wanted to call this the Vampire Lestat all along, and I'm glad he got his way because it makes absolute sense. The next question is, how closely will they follow the book? And Roland starts by saying that in the book it's a concert, but they've decided to tweak it and change it to make it a tour. Because we have so much story to tell, and hopefully so many episodes to tell it in, that a tour does make sense. He says that it's set in 2025, so that's 3 years after Louis initially sat down with Daniel in Dubai. Roland also alludes to the fact that there are certain things in the past that are remembered that they're going to highlight in this season. So I'm not going to give too many book spoilers away in this video, but the fact that we are looking to the past is very exciting. I mean, we've had hints of it anyway, so it shouldn't be too much of a spoiler. Roland also says that they take really big swings, and I have absolute faith that they're going to hit them completely out of the park. Is that the right saying? I think so. He says that they will not be repeating moves from seasons 1 and 2. He says that the show will be non-linear. Perfect. He also says, and I find this so interesting, he also says that the show will be contradictory and all over the place because Lestat is kind of that way. I can't wait for the questions we're going to have at the end of every episode. And he says it's a train wreck of a tour. This is a quote from Rollins Jones from the article. He says, it's about this examination of a person who really, really, really doesn't want to examine himself, but is forced to. So there will be this armour that he's putting forth to try not to look inside, because looking inside is very, very, very hard and messed up. Lestat! Oh my gosh. That is something. That is saying something. And I just cannot wait for Sam Reid's performance of Lestat. I mean, this is going to be the first time we actually really, truly meet him. The first time we're going to be sat down with him through the eyes of Daniel in this documentary style. I mean, I'm so, you can probably tell from my voice, I'm so excited. The next question is about Louis. Rollins Jones says that he cannot tell us anything at all. But what he will say is that Louis doesn't really have a role in the Vampire Lestat, the novel. So they've expanded on his role from throughout the Chronicles and brought it into this season. So that makes me very, very excited about what we're going to see. Which side of Louis we're going to see. Which phase of Louis we're going to see. Oh, I can't wait. But it is all true to the spirit of what Anne Rice wrote, which I love. He says that they're going to focus on who they think Louis is, where he's at, and his relationship with Lestat. And finally, he says that whatever Louis tells us is important to Lestat. So then we speak about Gabrielle, or let's call her Gabriella. That's what they've decided to call her. So that's what I'm going to call her. From now on, it's Gabriella. And they talk about the name change. So simply put, it was a way for Gabriella to keep control of some part of her life. She moved to France when she was so young. And as a female in that time, one of the only things she could control was what people called her. And I believe she's going to correct people and say, no, my name's Gabriella. She is Italian or Neapolitano, i.e. from Naples. I think I've said that wrong. Oh, help me out in the comments if I have. But they did want to show that she's not a brittle bird. She is a monster. And a brilliant way to demonstrate her strength really early on was for her to be able to stand up and fight for her own name. And I agree. I mean, it's not the end of the world for her to change her name. But again, I haven't been reading the series for 30 years, I suppose. So maybe other people have other opinions and I respect them. But I don't have the opinion that it's a bad thing that they changed her name. And then we get on to Claudia. And again, Roland cannot tell us anything, except to say that it's very much like Louis. So what they do tell us about Louis is that they're taking elements from what Anne Rice has already written in the Chronicles. So what has Anne Rice written about Claudia in the Chronicles? I can't wait to find out. But the fact remains that Claudia is going to be here in some form or another. And I'm so pleased about it. I'm so pleased about it. And then finally, they speak about a world tour, but it is a massive, massive thing. And he isn't in charge on that level, I don't believe. So whether that will happen or not, I'm not sure, but that's okay. We can enjoy it on the screen. Roland also says that Sam Reid is going back into the recording studio in a couple of weeks to finish off the job. And that's how big of a job it is. I mean, it's going to be so detailed. I don't think it's going to be like a musical. I mean, he says it's not. Even if it were, I don't think I would be too upset about that. I don't think. But it's not going to be a musical. I think we're going to see parts of them creating the music as well, which will be awesome. And then finally him performing them as well. I think we'll be taken on this journey by the songs. And that's masterful. I mean, from what we've seen so far, absolutely, absolutely trust them.